Am I live? Oh, yes, I am. Hey, late night host here, Mikey, saying how's it going everywhere out there in YouTube land and StreamYard land and wherever you are here this very late night uh, on a Wednesday, or excuse me, Thursday morning. It's about 1:16 a.m. here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am Mikey of Mikey's Who Scored channel. Uh, just came from Pops and Gorilla's earlier stream about Gilligan's Island and the mosquitoes. Hey, Lemon Pie! Greetings to you, sir. Yes, we've got Gorillas saying, I'll be lurking. That's so cool. And I said, hey, thought you were asleep, brother. But he says he is laying down. That's cool. And of course, our friend, I should say, Lemon Pie says, greetings. I hope you liked what I said earlier, Lemon Pie, about little buddy and my buddy. Yeah. Because I figured it was, it's just, spur of the moment because it was Gilligan's Island, cool stuff. It's just a little late night stream. Just wanted to give my quick views on them. I think I might do this as a permanent stream after Pop runs his Gilligan's Island. I just give my little views, my little 2 cents as it goes. And then my brand new chair. This is a chair from Bed Bath and Beyond. You see, so the back of it there. My wife gave it to me as a birthday present. $30. That's all it costs. Normally costs about almost 10 times that. Yeah. So we got it on a real good discount because Bed Bath and Beyond is gone. They're over with. Their history. And I'm just trying to keep down a little bit because my wife is sleeping. So. Yes. Gilligan-esque indeed. Yes. Well, so getting to the first episode, of course, the chain of command. Yes, it was a good episode because Gilligan wanted to show that he could be just as good of a leader as his big buddy Skipper. And Skipper didn't really think so, but that's what you get when you have relationships like that, like you did with Skipper and Gilligan, because Gilligan looked up to Skipper. That's obvious. Uh, and the Skipper usually thought that Gilligan didn't quite have it up here. But there were moments that Gilligan actually saved the castaways from themselves. And that's why the show was so popular. Uh, because you always wanted to see Gilligan. You want to see how he screwed up, like every week. But then when you had the moments where he did so good, he did something good for a change. That's how good it was. Yeah, F Skipper. Yes, Lemon Pie. No, I always in the series. I always was hoping for Gilligan to do better. Yeah, I hated the Skipper. Couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him. Uh, the professor, yeah, you needed the professor on the island. I agree, but but here's the thing: if professor was so smart, how come they didn't get off the island sooner? The professor, who's supposed to be knowledgeable about these things, could have figured out a way for them to get off. I mean, they had to wait all that time until finally, until the big hurricane storm or whatever, the rescue from Gilligan's Island, that the miniseries show that came up. Yeah, they were finally able to figure that out. Wow. Yeah, Gilligan's Revenge. Yes, Lemon. That's absolutely true. Yeah, and I was a little happy about that because then Gilligan could boss the skipper. The skipper got caught in the trap, the very ingenious trap, by the way. that Gilligan set. Yeah, that was classic. I love that. So about that episode, yeah, I like that part. Uh, I didn't get a chance to give a grade on because I know Gorilla was tired. I know, and Pop had to get some sleep as well. My grade on Chain of Command was actually a B. Yeah, because I was glad that Gilligan got to stand up for himself a few times, and you know, uh, so oh yeah, Professor tried, but he kept forgetting the Gilligan factor in his equations. Yes, yes, Gilligan. Okay, Gilligan, for lack of a better word, uh, was an underachiever. Could that be fair to say that? Yes, I think so. Um, yeah, there were moments that he did well, uh, to help the others, but then there were times where he wasn't even needed, right? He just had to stand off on the side, stay out of the way, stay out of trouble. But Gilligan's going to be Gilligan, right? And I didn't hate him for. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, sure. Sometimes it was his fault that they didn't get off the island with the Gilligan factor, right? Being in effect. But most other times I was like, look, it's not just Gilligan that screws up. Like for this episode, the mosquitoes, episode about the mosquitoes, the girls didn't even have to prove that they could sing better than the boys. They didn't even have to prove that. If they had even, you know, if they had just left it alone, and the boys, and the mosquitoes had realized, oh, we don't have any competition. These four guys here can't play, do anything, whatever. So if they thought that they were the only competition on the island rather than what the girls did, would they have been saved? Sure they would have. But the girls thought they were all that, and so sorry, just trying to get used to this new chair. I've only had it a couple days, so I'm just still trying to get used to it. Uh, so because the girls thought, they did such a good job, the boys liked it, and then of course when the Wellingtons and Mosquitoes saw it, they were like, no, we have enough competition. We don't need these girls to, come from the island after we rescue them. Then they become a big hit, maybe a bigger hit than what the Mosquitoes were. Yeah. So I think that's where that came into play. Also, I had mentioned at the end, I just found this out, that Les Brown Jr., that was the guy that was the drummer that had the weird mop top. He was the son of Les Brown and his band of renown, which they were a big band hit. That band, a big band hit in the swing era of the 40s and 50s. So that was Les Brown Jr. Now, Les Brown Jr. also appeared of an episode in 1987, later on, 20 years later, with the Highwayman, the one season series I told you guys about with Sam Jones as Highway and you know Jacko, the Australian model who did all those ever ready battery commercials in Australia as Jocko, with the big truck, their big trucks, can transform into things. But yeah, when I did the Summer of '45 episode, that's what the one of the episodes is about. It's also about the first atomic bomb test, which is ironic because that was in July of 1945. So when we did the episode, it was based partly on that bomb, the atomic bomb going off in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And Les Brown Jr. was, you know, being like his dad, Les Brown, and you know, like I said, who was a big band leader in the 1940s and 50s, and he stood in for his father in that episode called Summer of '45. It's on my website. If you check on movies, actual YouTube movies, I've got all 9 episodes of The Highwayman downloaded. And if you look it up, it's the episode is called Summer of '45. And I'm in it. I play an MP. I also play an army man and a couple other roles for background. I'm also dancing in the background. One of the ladies comes on. She's a real life singer and actress. And she comes on and sings. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. No PvP. This is just last minute. No, no, I'm still doing the stream for August 1st. No, this is just last minute. I wasn't tired. This is my can't sleep stream. It's not August already. I told you, dude. I'm a late night guy. Oh boy. Yeah. Come on. I'll let you come in PvP. Give me a second. I'm gonna highlight this and put it in the chat. Let you come on. Okay, for a few minutes we'll talk. No, no, I'm on for a few minutes. PvP. I'll let you come in. Okay, I put in the I put it in there, so this will give us a few minutes to give our take on it. Oh, you're just on a minute then. No, no, I'm here for a little bit. I'm okay. Now, when it gets too late, it'll probably be like around 2 in the morning or so. If it gets too late and I start passing out of the chair. Yeah, I almost said that too. Yeah. Okay, there you go, PvP. That's the StreamYard attachment to my chat, to the chat here. So yeah, if you want to pop in, if you got a few minutes, go right ahead. Okay, he says I shouldn't stay too long as they do 15 to full sleep. Okay, but if you want to take some time, just give your take, just a few minutes. You and me, I would. Oh, I tell you, if you and I had gotten on the panel earlier this evening, we would have had those guys on till almost 3 or 4 in the morning. Yesterday we did 5 hours. I mean, wow. Oh, how'd we do that? That's so crazy. Yeah, that's cool, PvP. If you can't come in, that's fine too. But I'm glad to see you, and you as well, Lemon Pie, and Gorilla, of course, brother Gorilla. He's lurking. He says, yeah. So I gave a B grade to Chain of Command, and then you saw what I said on the thing about the mosquitoes. I gave it an A minus. It actually is one of my favorite Gilligan's Island episodes, and every time I see it, I laugh out loud because you got a decent band. Like I said, the Wellingtons were a house band in the '60s, and said Sherwood Schwartz actually discovered them in a gig. They were doing a gig in a bar. I don't know if it was at the Whiskey a Go Go. It was one of the L.A. bars back then, whiskey bars or something like that. And Schwartz saw them and then said, "Hey, can you guys write a song for me?" Stuff like that. So yeah, and then like I said, Les Brown Jr. was part of that band. Um, his dad was in the big band era, the swing. So yeah, yes. So I said that already. And then the price says one thing I need to do before bed is finish this glass of red wine. Oh, I'm jealous of you already. I love red wine. A good Merlot is always good. Quit complaining about me. I'm not asleep yet. Oh you're so much fun. Hey, Pablito, what's up? You're new to my chat, aren't you, Pablito? Well, welcome. This is a late night My Can't Sleep stream. I don't do this all the time, but when I can't sleep, I gotta do something just to help me kind of relax. And the Three Amigos says, "Yo, what's up?" Yeah, that's Pablito. And Three Amigos says, "How you doing, sir?" I am doing just fine, Three Amigos. It's good to see you, and good to see Pablito as well. Pablito and Three Amigos say hello to my some of my best friends in the world, Gorillas, Random Thoughts, Lemon Pie, and Pleasant Valley Picker, Canada. They're really nice. They're really nice gentlemen. They've helped me on streams in the past. They're really good in what they do, and they have great channels of their own as well. So, ah, well, the painting and the painting. Sorry, there we go. Those paintings in the background are from my wife, Suzanne. They are of our cats, uh, Moon Pie and Deja Vu. And on one of those, the cat has a cape on. Oh, my friend is here. And
Hello.
welcome to the chat, PvP.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I
Hopefully.
can.
Hey,
Yes, I can.
your mic is actually sounding really good tonight, Mikey.
Oh well, thanks. I
I'm used to you always breaking up with a lot of live streams, but you sound really solid tonight, actually.
hey, thank you. That's why I like doing these streams on my own because I
Oh, do you
actually
think?
sound better. I guess.
Wow, maybe you
Yeah.
should do more on your phone then. That's weird. Like, gee, that's
Oh, oh
wow.
well, this is not on my phone. This is actually my own PC. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
my
well,
yeah
if it
yeah.
works, you should think about doing it more often that way because
I
sometimes
guess
you really do break up badly when we're on live streams. I've noticed.
I know, and I feel bad about that. Oh yeah, I told Pablito what that was. Hello, Pablito and amigos. Yes, thank you, Pie. He also says, "What's your favorite game?" My favorite game. That depends. There's lots of different games. I used to play as a kid.
I
I
was
guess
never
I'd
a
like.
big gamer myself.
Yeah. Uh,
I was too old. By the time gaming became popular, I was like off of college, right? So I didn't have time to even think about it. you know.
yeah. I think mine was Monopoly. I think I really enjoyed
Oh, you're talking
Monopoly.
board
Monopoly.
games.
Yeah, board games. I think he's talking about a favorite game.
Oh, Monopoly's good. I used to play Risk with my mom and friends. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah. That was yeah. Risk was fun too. I
Yeah,
agree.
it was fun to play back like way back when in the 70s I used to play it. Yeah.
Yeah. Lemon Pie says PvP in the house.
Hi Lemon. Hey Lemon. Hey,
Yeah,
Grill is still in the chat. Jeez, Grill, I thought you were going to bed, man.
and that's what I told him too. I thought he was asleep, and he says, "Oh no, no,
Yeah,
quit complaining about me. I'm not asleep yet.
yeah, it's like
It's just late."
12:30. It's like 12:30 there. Jeez, it's late enough here. I mean, I probably won't stay more than about another 20-25 minutes because I
I
should.
only plan on doing another 25. So I say
Yeah,
by
that's
about two
yeah,
o'clock I'll shut down. Yeah, and
yeah, because
but I just want you to be here. Yeah. So
I got some
if
stuff. I mean, my place. I've been really bad actually. I've been spending so much time on YouTube. When I come home from work, I just don't get a lot of stuff done here that I should do, and my place is getting really messy, like really bad. And I'm like, geez, what am I living? It's like I'm living in some third world you know project or something because it's getting so messy. So I gotta really get my act together, clean some
maybe yeah
clean some
maybe some
stuff.
right maybe some time warp. Yeah, maybe you feel sometimes like
Oh.
you're living in a different dimension.
Well, the thing is, it used to be great because we used to have like a garbage chute in the hallway, like 30 feet from my unit here. So
Okay.
I could just take a bag or two of garbage out like every couple of days and drop it down the garbage chute.
Oh,
And then a new management company took over a couple years ago, and oh, to their great, bow down to them, they decided to close the garbage chutes and lock them up like last May, like over a year ago. So
oh
now
no.
I basically save my garbage up and put it in one of those big black garbage bags and take it out like once a week because it's such a pain in the ass to have to walk out behind the building and toss it into that big, dumpster, right? So,
Right. Like I said before, we live in a 17-story building,
oh my
and each
God.
of our floors, yeah, and we're on the 13th floor. So we
Oh,
each of us have our own little chute space,
oh
little
yeah.
closet that we drop stuff down the chute.
I miss
And
that
that
so much.
I know, and that's that. But the people in this building, the majority of the people in this building, just don't understand trash. And like
Oh,
they could leave all sorts of crap in the closets there, and then
oh,
it's up to the maintenance people. And they don't have very many maintenance people running this building. Okay, it's like the
okay.
inmates running the asylum, and you only have yes, and you only have a few. They go up there, they clean the floors every once in a while. They do a one of those what do they call them, automatic uh, floor cleaners,
Yeah, I
things like
think we
that.
got one
So they
one dedicated maintenance guy somewhere, even though I don't think I've seen him in over a year anywhere. And I believe they contract out to some cleaning company and they vacuum the carpets in the hall like once a week or something. So
yeah
that's not
we
too bad.
we yeah we have a dedicated we do have a dedicated uh, vacuum, like a person that comes in. He does the floors. You can
Yeah,
definitely hear the electronic, uh, you know, mop, cleaning the floors and everything. And then they have to
yeah,
clean those closets out. And they keep telling them, they say, look, if you can't fit anything down the chute that shouldn't go down there, you
yeah.
need to
Just
take it downstairs
take it out to the
because
a dumpster. Yeah, yeah.
right, because down there they've got the organic, they've
Um,
got the
that
plastic, and the regular. They have them
that
all.
was one of the problems here, Mikey, is people were trying to stuff shit down the
Yes,
dumpster was like maybe I don't know 14 by 14. It wasn't a huge hole in the wall, right?
it's not that big,
And
and yeah,
and they'd be putting stuff that was too large and it would get jammed, halfway down the chute. And then the other problem is we do like we're a pet friendly building. They don't allow dogs, but they do allow kitty cats here, right?
yes, of course.
So of course people were putting their kitty litter down the chute without properly bagging it. And that was creating a problem too, because they even put a notice up in the laundry room
They they
months
told
before
us
they closed it.
right. They told us with the kitty cat litter and their feces and their refuse. They told us you have if you're going to throw it down the chute, you have to double bag it. Don't
That's what
just
I
put it
do.
all in one bag. Yeah, you have to
I
double
Yeah,
bag it.
I pretty much always double bagged any garbage because I just figure that's safe and secure,
We
right?
do too. We do too. Yeah,
Yeah.
except for the plastic stuff. Plastic stuff, Suzanne gets us really big, huge blue bags that are able to contain a lot of things.
Okay.
So, and we get our plastic trash is picked up on Thursdays. And my
Okay.
wife, she goes out to our food bank to help us out a little bit. And then while she goes, that's when the garbage man comes, takes all the plastic away and everything. And then on
So
Friday
that's
morning, I go downstairs, take all the plastic we have here, bring it downstairs, put it in there. So
so that's like recyclables and stuff then, kind of thing.
recyclables, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Pablito says, what about color? Okay, well, Pablito, first of all, you know that I loved Monopoly. Uh, PvP said he enjoyed Risk. My favorite color has always been red. It's always been red. I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but on my chair, in the light there, it's red. Yeah, if you can see it.
I haven't played either of those games in so many decades. I don't remember them that well. Well, I remember them, but they don't
Yeah.
mean much anymore because the only game I played in the last year would be Fortnite once in a while when I go online because it's kind of
Yeah.
fun, But even that I don't think I've played that game in like 4 or 5 months now. I've just totally it's like between work and coming home and doing day to day stuff. Like, well, for instance, when on the way to work this morning, it was very busy on the highway, so there wasn't much room to maneuver. And all of a sudden, I'm driving along, right, and I noticed
Yeah.
something on the road, and it's like I got no time to react because it's like 10, 15 feet away from my car. So I just run it over, right? And I hear this bang under my car, and I'm thinking, oh crap. Yeah, I don't
Oh
know if
crap.
it was like 3 feet long. I don't know if it was a board, a piece of plastic. I don't know what the hell it was off of somebody's,
Ah,
vehicle, right? That dropped out of the back. So
dang.
I got to work. I look at my wheels. Everything looks fine. I looked after work. 9 hours later, I come out at 7. Everything looks fine. The car's driving fine. But I
Yeah.
still, on my lunch break this afternoon, I phoned I'm a member of the British Columbia Automobile Club, right? Because for like $10 a month or whatever, it's worth having, right? Because they have
Oh,
such
it's
great
definitely.
service.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely worth having for sure.
Yeah. And I've
Yeah.
been there at the auto center here like
Stay.
probably 4 or 5 times in the last 5 years just to get little repairs, whatnot, oil change, whatever done. So I call the guy and he's like, okay, have you had an oil change lately? And I said, it's probably been at least a year since I had one. He says, okay, we can do it for like 68, whatever, like under $69. He says, we can do your oil change because I said, would it cost anything to just put it on the hoist and take a look? He said, no, but if you haven't had an oil change recently, we'll do the oil change and we'll look under your car, check out everything to make sure it's all in one piece. And so it's like, okay, it was great. And I booked an appointment for 9 a.m. Saturday because they were almost open the whole day on Saturday. I lucked out, right? Because sometimes they're booked up. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. So as long as I get to work over the next day and a half and my car doesn't die, I think I should be okay, hopefully, because it seemed to run fine tonight at home, going home. But it's
So,
always
so you're
scary when,
able. Yeah, it's kind of scary if you. Well, and the thing too is that you don't want it to be too serious, or damage, because you don't know. Like if you go to any place, like even around here, it's really hard to fathom. If you go to any place, they can charge just whatever they want, right? You don't
that's
even know. Yeah,
yeah, that's why I've gone to the auto club religiously, since I moved here like 8 years ago. I've spent
I would have too.
probably
Yeah,
4 or 5 times. Well, I'm a member, right? So I think they are a little more honest if you're a
I
member,
was, I was
paying your
a, I was a
dues every
AAA
year.
member. Yeah, I was a AAA member in the states when I lived there.
Hmm.
I was very. I followed. I went to every single AAA hotel, motel, gas station,
Yeah, you can get
uh,
good discounts on stuff.
restaurants.
Yeah, yeah,
Restaurants.
yeah,
You can get anything you want from the AAA or the
yeah.
CAA.
It's very worthwhile. The money you pay
It's
it pays itself. Like I've had to
it
have my
does.
car towed a couple times, like when I had a starter die and I couldn't start my car.
Oh
I just
sure.
called them up. They came and that same day, a few hours later, towed my car to the service center. They had diagnosed it. They said, okay, it's like $250 or whatever to replace the part. I said,
Yeah.
go for it, guys. Just do it. I need
Oh
my car
wow.
for work, right?
Of
But they're
course, of
honest.
course.
They're honest. Like I had
But
a,
they are. Yes.
but I had a, I had a headlight burnout about a year ago, right? I had one
Okay.
headlight driving home from work for like a month, right? Because I didn't have the cash. I
Yeah.
called them up. I booked an appointment. They said, okay, it's going to cost like for the headlight bulb, to replace it, it's going to be like $62. But the guy told me, we can do an oil change for $68 and I'll just throw the headlight bulb in for free.
There you go.
So it's like I'm getting the headlight done for $6. Yeah, and where I could have paid like
But
64 or whatever.
it
And
could have
he's
been.
honest, right? He told me he was honest,
Of
right?
course, and he saved you more than half of what you would have paid
He saved me
if
a
you had
bundle.
gone for both. Yeah, so that's how they are. That's why you want to find people like that.
That's why I keep going back there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there like 4 or 5 times over the last 5 years to get, stuff replaced, repaired.
yeah.
Never had a bad experience yet. They've always been really good. Conscientious. Well, like a month ago, I thought my tire pressure might have been a bit low, right? So I stopped by,
Okay.
one
Yeah.
day before work And
Yeah.
great service technicians that come out. The guy with the air hose, he checks it all. He says, "Nope, your tire pressure is really good. Everything's fine." He added a little bit to it, one or two tires, but he said, "Nope, you're really good." He said, "Sometimes the tires look low on the front end because you got the engine there, right? So it's very heavy, so it makes the tires look lower than the back tires." But he said, "Nope, your pressure's just about spot on," and he said, "You're safe to go." And
That's great.
you know,
Yeah, let's catch up on the chat here real quick.
yeah.
Gorilla said, yeah, that's okay. No,
Where the
Gorilla
hell's
says,
where
hey, keep it down. I'm trying to sleep over here.
the
Yeah. What
uh,
is the velocity of an unladen swallow? Okay. Levitai says, that sounds like a bad system of trash chutes. Well, it
wow.
is if you try to throw things that don't belong and don't fit in there, which I've heard of like horror stories where some people have thrown these whole big, huge boxes of things, like uh, cardboard boxes, things like that. Dude, cardboard boxes do not fit into a small chute. I don't care what you I don't care what you do.
The
You
thing
can
is,
stand there and tear it apart for all you want to do,
well, the
and that's it.
thing is, Mikey, we got a separate recyclable cardboard bin in the back of the building here. That's where you're
Yeah,
supposed to put all cardboard and stuff,
that's where
right?
you're supposed to do everything, right? The cardboard. But I
Yeah.
swear to you, I told you, there are some people in this building that will not do that. They will, well, okay, so they'll fold it. Yay, whatever, okay. But it's so big, and the chute is so small. Yeah, the dimensions are not, they're not even worth talking about because all you can fit is like a certain bag of things, and then you just throw it in there and it'll go
Well,
straight down. But if you throw in something like, huge big thing of plastic or cardboard or whatever thing that doesn't belong at all, it'll stop it up, and it could cause a fire if somebody got stupid and throw a little, match in there or you know, a half
cigarette
burnt
butt.
match or a cigarette butt, which they
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
yeah.
they throw those in there too.
The
Yeah, if you,
problem is too, Mikey, with something like cardboard, you can fold it to death, but it's going to unfold on itself, right? So
yes,
unless you actually, put it in a bag and tie it really tight, or maybe put a bit of tape on it to keep it, from unfolding, it's going to
the
could jam easily, right? So, yeah.
right, and the other thing I've heard too is, and I don't know if this is true in the states or not. Maybe in certain parts it is, but I've heard that homeless people will intentionally dumpster dive into trash bins to get the cardboard so that they can sleep on top of the cardboard on a cold night when the ground is cold, or on a hot day, like if you're in the middle of the Arizona, streets, in Phoenix where they can get up to 150 degrees just on the asphalt, and
God,
they will put the uh, cardboard covers down
it makes sense.
purposefully so that, yeah, so they can stay off the ground, and
Well, I've
not
also
have to,
heard of,
yeah.
homeless people will, gather newspapers and stuff them under their shirt on their chest when it's a cold night, just to give that
Yes.
little bit of insulation, right? So they don't freeze to death. I mean,
Right.
well,
Or they'll
we shouldn't even have to talk about this. I think the whole homeless thing's so sad. I mean, it's bad there, it's bad here. It's just
it's
I
a
wish there was the will to fix this problem because it should be fixable. I mean, let's
right.
put it this
Well,
way:
yeah,
if we could solve World War II, why the hell can't we solve homelessness, right?
that's a good point. Because I was going to say that homelessness is a worldwide problem. It's not just one country or another. It's
Yeah,
everywhere. It
seems to
is
be.
everywhere. And
Yeah.
governments, and this is the thing, I'll only say this once for now because I don't want to get myself in trouble for this. Because I know what I say, and I get myself in trouble when I
I
say it.
hate to be political too, to be honest, but
Yeah, I
sometimes
hate
it's
it
hard to
too.
avoid, right?
It's hard to avoid it, yeah. No, that's what I was going to say is that the governments just don't care. Their priorities, whatever the priorities are for the country, for the city, wherever they are totally out of whack. And that goes for everybody. No one is left out in this. Okay, no one
Yeah.
is excluded. That is how bad homelessness and poverty is. And the countries everywhere are going through it, and they're not doing a single thing about it. And those poor, and the poor charities, the Salvation Army, the children's charities, for Christ, for, you know, all of these, they do what they can, but there's only so many people that volunteer. I I asked somebody about this with the food bank. The was a couple weeks ago. I went with my wife one of the few times, and I said, "How do you guys do this?" And they said, "Well, we just want to do it. We just want to help people out."
It's
And
just
I said, "Well, that's
well,
wonderful." I said, "But you don't get paid." I
no,
said, "It's nonprofit."
they're mostly
You know?
volunteers. I think there might be a few office people on the staff that are there every day answering phones that get
Sure.
paid. But yeah, it's mostly good-hearted volunteers, and I use the food bank too, actually, Mikey.
Yeah.
Once every 4 weeks, I get my little voucher, and I can go every 4 weeks on Fridays, and it helps. It does help, but one thing I've noticed over the last 6, 8 months,
Yeah.
when I first started, like maybe 3 years ago, I used to get like two fairly large boxes of all kinds of different food. They'd put it in the trunk of my car, right?
Sure.
I went last time about a week and a half ago, and I got one, decent sized box and then one really, really tiny little box. And
Wow.
I asked them a couple months ago, I said, well, it seems like there's a lot less, in the hampers lately. And the lady's like, yeah, because donations are way down because there's more people that can't afford to donate, and then with inflation and food prices, there's a lot more people we're getting signed up every month that
Yeah.
need help, that didn't
Yes.
need help maybe 6 months ago. So now the demand has increased so much and the supply has gone down, and so it's a cascading effect, right? It's like I'm probably getting at least a third less than I got, say, 4 months ago, right?
That's really unfortunate, PvP in your end for sure. I can definitely attest to that because I remember, what was it, last? I think it was a couple of years ago before the pandemic. My wife would bring, we've been living here for 6 years now together.
Right.
Which I can remember when she would bring tons of things home. Like she would put all there was possible she could on her walker. She tried to stuff things in her bags, things like that. It
Right.
was overwhelming and overflowing.
Mhm.
Now I'd be lucky if I could see one, maybe two bags from her walker, and that's it. There's just nothing else
Yeah,
because
I'd
they
say
are running out. They are
yeah,
running out of everything
they're
and any
struggling.
kind of help they can do. Yeah,
They are
anybody.
struggling. They're. I mean, I bless them. I thank them every time. I say you guys are doing a great job, and
And I do
the
too. And
volunteers
I
I
do.
meet there, every one of them has been really great. In the three
Sure.
years or whatever I've used it. But yeah, I used to, maybe 6 months ago, I would, I have a little buggy, right? Those granny trolleys,
Yes, yes,
with two
yes,
wheels. I have one
yes,
of those,
yes.
so I used to fill that up, and I'd take a couple of extra, shopping bags. So
Yeah,
I get the granny trolley totally full. I'd fill up, one bag. I'd, walk up, to my third floor apartment. I would take that stuff in. I'd unload all of that stuff. Then I usually would have to go down for a second trip, with the same amount,
right.
like 8 months ago. Now,
Yeah,
this last time I did it all in one trip, easy, like one trip,
yes,
easy.
yes. And you didn't even have half the stuff that you might have been able to get in the past, right? Everything would have
Yeah,
been
well, like
doubled, and now you don't even have that.
I remember, like I used to get, four or five, items, meat items like chicken or fish or
Yeah, we do
last
that
time.
too. Yeah, we
I
do
was
that.
lucky this time I got three, but the time before that I got one little piece of ham, like a little tiny slice of ham. So
You're not going to be able to survive on a slice of ham. I don't care how big it is for like
it
maybe a
was
few days that you have a
one
sandwich,
no,
and
it
that's
was a
about it.
little. It was like a half an inch thick, and I cooked it up on the stove, and it was
Oh
like one meal
God.
basically, right?
Oh
Yeah,
man. Wow.
yeah,
Lemon Pie, yeah, he says, I was able to swerve away from a sudden large object on the highway once. I was lucky it would have really messed up my car.
it's really
Yeah, I've done
scary.
that before, Lemon Pie. When I was driving up north, uh, a little bit of ways from where Pop culture lives now. But I was on the Mogollon Rim, they call it. There's a town there called Payson, Arizona, and I'm driving east on the Mogollon Rim, and I avoided a 4 pack of elk, and I was like, big
Oh,
elk dad, small elk mom, and 2 kids. I almost sideswiped all 4 of them. I
that
came
would have been
this close. I literally could reach out and touch one of the elk on the
that
side
could
of the
have been
road.
that could have been fatal.
Yes, yes. And my wife and I, when we were driving, coming back to move back here to Canada, we're driving down a road on in near the Oregon coast, and we almost
Okay.
ran into a huge Angus cow. This thing of beef walked
Wow.
onto the highway road that we're on
Oh, Jesus.
and stood there and would not
No.
move. And this is a 2-lane road. So he's in front of us, we're right here, and there's a few cars that were coming soon. They were going to come soon,
My
and there
God.
was no way I could get around this cow.
Jesus.
So I was like, we were honking at him. We were trying to get him out of the road. I don't know. The damn thing must have like jumped over it because we looked over at the fence, right? And it's got that barbed wire fence
Well, I
that's
hope I
supposed to
hope the
keep.
farmer got it soon, because
Well,
that
yeah.
that sounds like a cow with a hamburger wish to me.
I think he had a death wish that day. That's what
Yeah.
my wife said. Hey,
He's
you know
like,
what? We could
make me
just hit
into
him right now.
patties.
That's what Suzanne said. She said we could just hit
Oh.
him right now and turn him into hamburger. And I said,
I
no, no, no,
almost
you don't know. I said the Angus is one of the heaviest freaking cows, and this guy had
that would
horns.
have screwed your car up pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh, our rental for sure. Yeah, I was like, no, 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 no. I said, yeah, it'd be nice if I could hit him right now and turn him into a double beef hamburger, but I with cheese, but I don't think that's gonna
Yeah, that's like magic, right? I almost hit a deer once, like it was a fairly young deer, I think, too. And the
Wow.
freaky part was it was right in the middle of my hometown, like miles from any, you know, away from the wilderness. Like it was
You wouldn't
right
have
in the
had
middle,
any hope
right
if
in
you
the
had
middle
hit
of
that thing.
town.
Sure,
And
sure.
it was like dusk, and it was like, it's that time when they're moving around, I guess, when it's getting dark. And he
Yeah.
bounced out in front of my car, like 20 feet, and I had to slam my brakes on.
Oh
Luckily,
God,
there was no harm done and it ran away, but
that's crazy.
sorry I had to mute him.
That.
Having a little coughing jagger.
Oh no, no, that's okay. No, that's okay. Um, I've heard horror stories from my wife. I told you she was born in St. John's, Newfoundland, and
Oh,
came across, and she was telling me when I think she told me a moose story.
I was
That a
just going to
moose.
mention, yeah, I was going to mention moose in the East Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
She
even
she
out here in
said that
BC,
there was a truck that almost hit a moose.
but
The
even
moose
in
was coming
BC,
across.
even
Yeah.
in BC, the moose stories are notorious because, like in Newfoundland, I think they actually have a bounty on Newfoundland, Labrador to kill
Yeah.
moose because there's so bloody many thousands of them. People are actually die every year from being hit by a moose.
I
Because the thing
did.
is, with a moose, they have those long, spindly legs, right? You take a moose out, the whole that massive body of thousands of pounds is going to come right into your windshield, right?
Yeah. Lemon
So
Pie said, "Did
it's pretty
you?"
bad.
Yeah, it is. Lemon Pie said, "Did you yell holy cow?" Yes, I did. I said to my wife, I said, "Holy cow, man! We got an Angus beef in the middle of the road."
I just hope
I
the
did say
farmer,
that.
I just hope the farmer reclaimed it soon.
Oh
It's bad letting the cattle wander on the
my
road.
god, that is
Oh,
so
you're
hilarious.
breaking up a bit.
No, it's very bad. Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. Yeah, just a second. Hey, I'm a no-name avatar. Oh, there I am. Catman. Yep, that's Deja Vu. Catwoman. Yep. Oh, he says, Lemon Pie, you're so hilarious. That man has cow repellent spray in his utility belt. Yes, he does. He has everything in there. Even shark repellent. Yes. Yes. Shark repellent.
Yeah, I do
Holy
enjoy.
shark, Batman.
I do enjoy Lemon's comments. He makes me laugh just about every live stream that he appears in.
He is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He and you and me were all the wrenchers tonight.
Oh,
And
were
with a
we?
few others. Yes,
I
we were.
hadn't
Yeah,
even noticed.
yeah. You had the wrench. I had the wrench. Lemon Pie had the wrench. We were,
It was
and we were
really
the ones
great.
who were talking. Yeah, that was funny though. It was great.
It was
Um,
great. Yeah, I was so relieved to finally see Pop doing a Gilligan stream after like a month because he's gotten
yeah,
such hard shit lately, and
yeah, yeah.
he's missed so many streams because for obvious reasons. But it seems like he's finally getting back on track with everything now, and I'm hoping he
He
does
is.
Lost in Space next Monday because I'm really looking forward to that one because
I
it's
really
one of
want to
my
see that
favorite
one.
it's one of my favorite episodes, and I really want to talk about it. So
Yeah,
hope
with
everything goes well.
Will. Yeah, with Will going back to
Earth.
the United States, yeah, to Earth, and
Yeah, he goes back to Earth. And you know
yeah.
what? The thing is, Mikey, it was written by Peter Packer, which he's one of my least favorite Lost in Space,
Oh, I don't like
writers.
Peter Packer. Peter Packer, uh, for whatever reason, was not a very good writer. I looked him up. He wasn't a very good writer.
Yeah.
He wanted to copy. He wanted to copy other people's scripts because he thought less of himself and thought that the other person's script, whoever was
Huh.
writing it at the time, wrote it
Weird.
much better than he did. And so what he wanted to do was plagiarize that person's script and say, "Oh, I'm the one who wrote it, and
Wow.
I'm the one, yeah, and I'm better at it." So that's
Huh.
what Peter Packer did, which is
Wow.
kind of embarrassing in a way because
Well, the thing
plagiarism
is,
was a huge thing then.
I think for some reason Irwin Allen loved the guy too, and I think he wrote like 25 episodes of the series or something. He wrote quite a few. And but for some reason, Mikey, that episode that I just watched on Sunday,
Yeah,
where Will goes back to Earth, Will's basically the star of that entire episode, pretty much, right?
he is. Yes,
And he's got great dialogue, and for once, Peter Packer wrote absolutely a great episode. Like I couldn't believe it. I was actually enjoying a Peter Packer episode, which I found quite shocking, actually.
yeah,
Uh,
and I think that Jill would agree with me too that it was probably it was probably the only episode that Packer actually was able to hit home with the fact that Will, out of all probably the entire family, really wanted to be back home. He wanted to
yeah,
be back on Earth. He didn't want to go to Alpha Centauri. That was
yeah,
that was that was Dad's idea. That was Mom's idea. The girls, his sister's idea. You know, he was like Dr. Smith in a way because Dr. Smith said, "Oh shoot, if I could get back to Earth, I'd get back there without anybody else in the Robinson family to go back home." And Will,
mm,
unbelievably, is the only family member who says, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. I don't want to go to Alpha Centauri. He is saying that in every mannerism of the episode that he is going, and when he's back home. In fact, he even said, if I had a chance, I'd stay here and I'd let the rest of the family stay back there, you know,
well, that was
where
the
they
one
are.
thing that bugged me about the episode. My only criticism is it's because you had the alien machine, right? This back, all the fire and
Of
smoke and
course.
all that.
Yeah, the fire
And I was
smoke and
think
meat, yeah.
I was thinking, okay, first of all, Penny got she got uplifted somewhere and she came back, and at that point, Will should have gone. Okay, we got a machine that might transport. Why didn't I go get everybody else, even Smith and the damn robot, and see if we can all transport somewhere together?
Right.
Because they could have all gotten back to Earth.
I think they could have all got back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could have. But so, which is why I didn't understand. Well, no, I did
That
understand.
was
It
my
was
one
just,
criticism.
yeah, exactly. Lemon Pie said yes. He did have shark repellent that was in the '60s movie. Yes, on the Batman movie of 1966, uh, he was. They were up there in the Batcopter, and a shark is hanging from Batman's foot, and so Robin's trying to fly the copter, and he's telling him, "Hey, hand down the Bat shark repellent." And it's the Bat shark repellent spray. It's so
It's a
handy. It's right there. you
that's
know,
a very rubbery looking shark too, I must say.
it was so lame.
But
That shark
that's
was so lame.
that's what I loved about the Adam West Batman, though. It was one of the lamest things I've ever seen, but yet it was one of the most popular things in the history of humanity for like two
I mean, you could tell
seasons.
it was a
Well,
prop. You
three
could tell,
seasons
and
actually.
it was just so 3 seasons.
It was just so crazy.
Yeah,
Well, it's totally a thing of its time, right? It really is. I
uh,
love Adam
yeah. We're
West though.
both going a
I
little
thought he was
robotic.
great.
Yeah, for a minute. Mikey's going off camera because he takes another form late at night. Yes, I
Oh
do,
shit.
and you're never gonna know what form I am, Lemon.
I never would have guessed Mikey was actually a vampire. Damn. Lemon, you've blown his cover now, damn it.
Damn it! I have to kill you now.
I just got to take a break for a minute. I'll be back in a minute, Mikey.
Okay, go ahead,
And
sir.
I got to go soon because it's after 11 here, and I can't hang around
Okay,
too much
uh,
longer. But
how
I'll be
about
back in
how
a
about?
minute.
Okay, when you come back, let's hang for 10 more minutes and then we'll go. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds
All
great.
right.
Okay.
All right, man. Yeah. Okay. So PvP had to step away for a moment. Yeah, lemon pie. I'm actually the crypt keeper, but I'm a crypt keeper vampire. Okay. Yeah, I am scary, dude. Seriously. Well, what do you expect? I have black cats. The black cats are my protectors. They look after me and my wife. So only the shadow knows. Yeah. So I think I will be able to fall asleep after this. Give myself about 10 more minutes, and then I'll just fall asleep in the chair or something like that. That's probably what'll happen. Yeah, I don't grow fangs though. I'm I'm like I'm a daywalker, but I don't grow those fangs. At night. I lost a few of them already. I just have to wait till they grow back. Exactly. Uh, so, Lemon, I was going to remind you again, my friend, that August 1st is going to be our live movie stream. We're going to do the movies Oppenheimer and Talk to Me, which is a horror film. Talk to Me is a horror film. Actually stepping away like a couple minutes. Okay, come back when you can, Lemon. We're going to stop in about 10 minutes from now, okay? 15 at the most, but I think about 10. And then we'll shut down. Yeah,
Hello.
because it's like, hello, sir. Lemon Pie said he was stepping away for a couple minutes. So,
Yeah, we all do once in a while.
oh yeah, we have to. It's the man job. We have to go and commence on the man job. I have so many other names for it, but I think I might get shut down if I say too many.
Well, there's various reasons, but
Oh, of
you know,
course, of course. We're old people. We have to step away
I just
every
want to
once in a while.
mention though. I guess I chatted in the earlier stream with Pop about that accident I saw tonight. Boy, that was really scary.
I was very happy that you got through that okay. I was worried when you were talking about like how smashed it was. I've seen I've seen
Yeah,
cars like that on the roadways here in Canada. Thank God
yeah.
I don't drive anymore. I stopped. But I've seen accidents where the cars is it's like an accordion. It's like smooshed in like an accordion.
Yeah, I'd say
It's so bad. Yeah.
basically the front engine was like basically mashed in right to the passenger driver's compartment. So I'm imagining whoever was driving that, whoever's in the front seats probably had some pretty massive injuries, if not fatality. Uh,
I hope they didn't die. That's what I always hope for is when you see
well,
a
it was
car or
horrific.
a truck mushed in. Yeah. Right.
Thing is, usually, I'm thinking it happened a little earlier because usually most, on Wednesdays I generally get out of work at 7 p.m. here, which usually the rush hour is starting to die down by then, right? Because it usually ends around 6:30. It starts to die down.
Usually, and to be fair, I know where Kelowna is basically located, so it
Mhm.
shouldn't have a lot of traffic like that.
Oh God, no, wrong. Traffic is
Okay.
traffic is horrible here. I
Oh God.
remember, well, let's put it
Okay.
this way. When I went to art school down in Vancouver in the late 80s, early 90s, the
Yeah.
traffic was very heavy. And back, when I took my first 2 years from 86 to 88 in Kelowna,
Yeah.
2 years of art college. And back then, it was a small town. It was still like apple orchards and small town. And I could go out at 6 o'clock at night after school, go somewhere to get, I don't know, whatever I needed, burger or whatever I needed.
Oh
And
sure.
there's like five cars on the Highway 97, right, which is our main highway going through town. It was almost empty. Now, Highway 97,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you can even go on a Sunday and there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars nonstop going, going, going. It's just packed with cars. I mean, there's kind of a cliche joke here. My cousin and I have like, if you want to go on Highway 97 in the middle of the afternoon from like say 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it's basically a parking lot. You could be sitting there for an hour to get anywhere, right? It's
Yeah.
so bad, you know. So I'm thinking this accident probably happened. I'm thinking
That's so hard to believe.
maybe an hour before I
Yeah.
got there. I don't know.
Wow.
But man, the one car, there was an ambulance, flashing lights, police car, flashing lights, fire engine, flashing lights, and the fire engines here do paramedic stuff too, I believe. So whether
Wow.
they'd actually taken somebody away, in another ambulance an hour earlier, like with the sirens to the emergency,
Yeah.
they could have. I didn't see any tarps over the car, which usually if there's a body in there, they'll throw a tarp over it, right?
Yeah.
To
Sometimes they
conceal it.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, but man, this black car, I just pulled a U-turn and went back on another road, but this black car was so mangled. Somebody must have just miscalculated, right? They make a turn into oncoming traffic and maybe they just missed it by a second. That's why I never do that shit. I always, if I'm not certain that I'm going to be safe, I'll just wait for, 30 seconds or a minute. I don't give a damn really. You know,
Well, yeah. You just have to. Well, you just have to be careful. Um, I know one thing I always hated doing. Um, I think that's yeah. I think this will be the last thing I can say. But one of the things I hated doing when I was driving was having to go back. Was having to go back to something. And do a U-turn. I just remember. Uh, I remember the horror movie U-turn that came out uh, a
yeah,
few
you
years
mentioned
ago.
that. You mentioned that.
Yes, and there was a sequel also, and those were crazy. I mean, these the movies were about people who like the horror movies were about people who were driving through town, and actually one of these towns was in Arizona. It was ironic, and it's just a small one,
Wow, Pop should
and
do that one.
somebody yeah, and somebody said, well, maybe we should do a U-turn because they couldn't go much further, and they said, okay, well, we'll just turn back to the town. And little did they
Hmm.
know the town was like, something out of These Hills Have Eyes, you
Uh,
know.
bunch of evil,
So
evil
a
stuff.
bunch of
Yeah.
evil people, just because they decided to do a U-turn. That's really what the
Right.
horror film was about. And then they actually had a sequel to that. So that's what I was trying to tell Pop, and I then when you had your accident, I was like, oh my God, I hope you're okay. And you said you were, and I
No, I was
said,
fine.
thank God, yeah,
I'm thinking it probably happened an hour or two before I got there. But
yeah,
boy, that black car was so mangled. I Anybody that was in that, I'm sure they would have been seriously injured. Probably, I'm guessing, and probably been carted off to the hospital well before I got there. But
yeah.
it just amazes me how bad. I'll tell you, there's some really bad drivers in this town. Like I've had to put up with some bullshit. I mean, there's been probably 2 or 3 times in the last 3 or 4 years where I'm almost thought I was going to die because I was right at, you're at an intersection, right? And the light
Yes.
goes green, and the car next to you, because often there's 2 lanes.
Thank you,
The car
Lemon Pie.
next
Yeah, he's back.
the car
Okay.
next to you starts to advance, and then some jackass goes through the light, not even realizing what they're doing. They slam their brakes on at the last second, and it's like 2 cars within, like, 15, 20 feet of demolishing each other, and I'm sitting right there, like, 30 feet away. If they'd hit the debris flying, I would have been, ducking under the seat, right? Because, God knows what would have happened, right? So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad
very
that you made
scary.
it okay. Yeah, it's very scary, and I'm very glad that you made it. Uh, PvP. I'm so glad that you didn't get involved in that
Yeah,
because that just sounds like it's real tragic. Yeah.
I'm a very careful driver, yeah, but sadly, some people make bad decisions, and I've seen
When?
my share of accidents over the years.
Yeah. 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 I was gonna ask you. When do you think? Like I said, I've already walked away from driving. But when I finally got back up here to Canada, don't forget I
Right,
had driven all the way across the United States, from Toronto all the way to well, I'm sorry, not Toronto, from Buffalo all the way New York all the way to Arizona, Scottsdale,
that's a
Arizona.
long ways.
Then I
That's like
drove all
what,
the way.
three
That's
thousand
3,000
miles or?
miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
Uh-huh.
guessing.
And then I drove back all the way from Scottsdale all the way back to
Wow,
Toronto in a rental vehicle. And so we estimated I drove approximately over 6,000 some miles.
that's
I think it was
longer.
6,300 miles by the time I got back
That's
as a round
probably
trip
yeah,
total. Yeah.
probably longer.
So,
My longest trip, Mikey, was back in early 1990 during spring break.
yeah.
A couple of my crazy college art school buddies from Emily Carr and myself decided, instead of studying for the week we had off, we'd say fuck it and go, drive down to San Francisco and look at art. we were young and stupid, but it was fun, right? So
But
we
that's
piled
fun
in the
trips
car.
to make. Yeah, that's fun
Oh my
trips to
God.
make.
It's still the greatest road trip of my life, really.
Did
We
you?
had it we
Yeah.
had it
Did,
out like on a Friday or whenever it was. And I
yeah,
had
you took the 101. You must have taken the 101,
I went down
the coastal highway. The
the
coastal
coastal
highway.
highway through Washington, or the Oregon Coast Highway, which is beautiful, by
Oh,
the
it's
way. The
gorgeous. It
Oregon,
is gorgeous.
everybody should see the Oregon Coast at some point in their life because it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Did you know we drove when I was with my folks, we drove by the very beach that back in World War II they had that it was that nice seaside town where a Japanese submarine attacked them and fired a few
Wow,
rockets into the trees and stuff, trying to set the forest on fire.
that was
And it
In
ran.
Oregon. That was in Oregon, wasn't
Yeah, that was off the Oregon coast. It was a
it? Okay, I'd
Japanese
never
submarine,
heard of
a
that.
midget
Wow.
submarine.
I know there
Yeah,
was a
it was
Japanese
Seaside,
sub.
Oregon.
There was a Japanese sub off of the
Yeah,
BC coast, I think, that fired a
yeah.
torpedo or something at something. So they were definitely out there. Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, no. What happened was is uh, the Japanese midget sub rockets and their rockets into the forest, and then what happened was the midget sub, because of the current, got caught in it and ended up running aground. And then, of
Oh,
course, they had policemen and all stuff. You know, run and firefighters trying to fight the fires, and they
Of
ran to
course.
this and the sub and captured two guys. And I think one of those towns still has the model of the sub as their display. It's a really
Hey,
interesting
if
story.
it brings the tourists in, right? You know.
Yeah, you
I
should
remember
read it.
hearing something. There's a Japanese site off of BC. I think I don't know if where it was. I think they shot something at maybe Vancouver Island or some
Right.
Navy base. It didn't do any damage, of course. They were completely useless. But
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
there's these little notebooks, little notepads in history, right? Yeah.
Well,
But
there was
yeah.
the islands. This was so funny. There was the islands called Attu and Kiska, and they were actually occupied by the Japanese for a short time.
That was Alaska, right up north of me.
Yeah, right up near Alaska. Yeah, it was the
Okay.
yeah. They were small islands. They were just
I, c-
called Attu
I
and
do
Kiska.
I
Yeah.
recognize those names as being Alaskan island names, though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they were using them as as a diversion, those islands, so that they could, yeah, so that they could
Uh,
try to invade, and of course, well, they didn't succeed, thank God.
I
But
think
it just,
the Japanese
yeah,
made a huge mistake siding with Hitler and joining the Axis powers.
yeah, they did. Oh,
They
good
did.
night, lemon
They
pie.
did.
Have fellas
Oh,
have a good
oh.
night. I need to head to bed. Yeah, good night, lemon
Well, night lemon. Have a good lemon night.
pie. Have some lemonade.
Yeah, have some
That
lemonade
well
and then hit the
refreshing
sack,
drink.
man. But
Take
yeah,
one of those sleepy pills with your lemonade.
World War II is pretty fascinating, though.
Yes, I
Have you ever
agree.
seen? Have you ever seen the Band of Brothers series?
I did. Yeah, I did watch it when it was on HBO. Right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was very. Yeah, it wasn't on for very long, but I
I
did
think
watch some of their
it's
scenes.
like
Yeah,
it was like a mini series. I think 9 episodes or something,
yeah,
produced by
something like that.
Tom Hanks or somebody.
Yeah,
And
Tom
yeah,
Hanks helped produce it. Yeah.
I thought that was a great series. Like I'm actually just rewatching some of the episodes because there's a couple of people doing rewatches of it on YouTube lately, which I
Yes.
find fascinating because if you get a good reactor, they can be kind of fun to watch, right?
Oh,
And
for sure. Yeah.
man, it's I haven't seen that show since it came out, and it's been
I.
so long. But
Yeah.
man, that's a great series.
Yeah. And now that you remind me of it, I think that Gorilla and Resolute Germ should do, since they're going to be doing military stuff. They
Oh,
should do Band of Brothers. They should do Band of
oh,
Brothers as you know, a
that would be
watch party.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. They could do like 2 episodes a week too, because it's only like 45 minutes or whatever, right? So yeah, I guess Gorilla's
Two
doing Schindler's List.
episodes
This
every
this
week. Yeah.
He's doing
Hey,
Schindler's
Band of
List this
Brothers, they can do
Sunday.
that.
He's doing Schindler's List
Yeah.
on Sunday, so that should be
So
pretty
what
good,
we
I
could do
guess.
is, oh, Schindler's List is a great film. But what I wanted
Yeah,
to tell him was, I hope he could do Band of Brothers. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think Band of
Well, let's
Brothers
see.
might
We
get.
got 3 people watching in the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Band of Brothers
Yeah,
would
go ahead,
probably
Piggy
get
Pig.
more. Band of Brothers would get more people in chat, I'm guessing. Schindler's is a great film, but it's like what 2.5, 3 hours long, and I got a feeling
It's a
after
very
an
long
hour,
film.
yeah, I would think the chat's going to drop off in the last half. And it is a challenging film. Like I've only seen it once, I think.
Yeah.
Back when it came out, and as good as it is, it's not like the kind of film you want to rewatch a lot. It's kind of a heavy
No.
slog, really. You know.
Yeah, you know what I would have told? Well, we didn't get to see All Quiet on the Western Front, which was kind of a disappointment. But I understood why he didn't want to do it, because he was, tired. He just got back or whatever from his trip with his son and everything. So that
Right,
was
right,
cool. I understood why.
right.
What I think, what I think that Gorilla should have done instead of Schindler's List, I think he should do Saving Private Ryan. It's a lot more
Hmm.
action packed. It has Tom Hanks, Matt Damon in a great role. I think they really should do that one, Saving
I
Private
don't,
Ryan.
yeah, I've never seen. You believe I've never seen that film. Believe it or not, as
Saving,
many
yeah.
great films I've never seen. But yeah,
Well,
I would totally go for that if he did Private Ryan. I would totally be there to watch that.
oh, of course. I mean, those first what is it? I think 25 to like 35 minutes that Spielberg has of D-Day, the landing, and all of that is where it starts. It's
Right.
some of the best battle scenes that have ever been shown in Hollywood history, and it was all accurate. Everything that Spielberg shown for the landings, at Omaha Beach and Juno Beach and Sword and Utah Beach,
So
all of it was accurate.
he put all the four beaches in then.
He threw in everything. For
That's
like the
great
first half
because
hour, it's like the greatest battles scenes I've ever saw in my
wow,
lifetime.
yeah, I've always wanted to see that film. It's just there's probably 100 films on my list I've never seen that I should see, but I always want to see that one. And that's really good if he included Juno Beach, because let's face it, as a Canadian, the Juno Beach stuff often gets ignored or overlooked, right?
Right.
Because they concentrate on the American, or the British beaches, and I
Yeah,
think,
I'm
well,
sure. Yeah,
well,
I'm sure I'm
James,
missing a few sword. No, I'm sure I'm missing a few beaches names. There's only so many I can remember from the
I
actual
I only remember
landings,
those
but
four. There might have been others, but I think those were the four main ones, actually, Mikey.
that's the ones I was
Um,
thinking. Uh-huh.
But don't forget, Jimmy Doohan of Star Trek fame was one of the people that landed on Juno Beach that's when he got his finger shot off, right?
Yeah, that's right. He
Famously.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just remembered. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
And he was like, he must have been a badass because I think if I remember correctly, reading, he got shot like 3 or 4 times, and
He
he just kept going, and I think he killed a whole pile of Germans. Like, wow, what
yeah,
a badass!
yeah. What he did was, if I recall correctly, what he did was is that he was with a small regiment. They were going up the side of Juno Beach, and he was. They got to a German gun emplacement, and that's
Right.
where he got most of his fingers shot off. And
I
then
think it was just
they
one actually,
are
but
just
yeah,
one. Okay, I thought it was two. I thought he got two shot off. They were
I'd
short.
have to
That's
recheck, but I think it was just one finger. But
okay. Yeah. So basically, like I said, his little group ended up, you know, charging this German gun emplacement, and overrunning it,
right,
and then while he's overrunning the gun emplacement with his group, he gets shot like three or four more times.
actually, he would have died that day. I
Yeah.
remember reading about this.
Yeah.
He was a smoker, I guess. He had
Right.
a silver cigarette case in his chest pocket that a
Yes.
friend had given him before he went off to the war. A
Yes.
bullet hit the that case dead on, and of course deflected, right? Because it was a
Yes.
metal case.
Right.
But if he had not had that in his pocket, he would have probably been dead. Or there probably never would have been a Scotty. We would have never been talking about him right now. It's like it's amazing how history can work, right? It really is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's well. And I like his. Just one last note I wanted to make too was I like James' son Chris
You're you're breaking up a bit.
that does Star Trek Continues and plays his dad. Job of that. So if you guys
Yeah,
check out,
I
oh,
think I've seen
sorry,
some of Continues.
I have to wait till it
I
comes
can't remember. It's been
back.
so long, but is
Okay,
that the
there we go.
one where they did a follow up episode to Mirror Mirror?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think yeah, that's probably the series.
yes,
Yeah, it was
I've seen
very
it.
well done.
Like I said, Star Trek Continues
Continues.
by a wonderful Vic Monona and James Conway, and it's a wonderful continuation of the original series. I think, in my opinion, I think it's a great continuation of the series. uh, and they did at least two. Uh, well, they weren't full seasons, right? I mean, I think they did a total of 11 episodes, maybe 12, I think. Uh, but they did continue the further adventures of the original crew, and I think it was just very cool that they were able to put that out there. I know some people say it's canon, some people say it's not because it's a fan made, but I like to think that if the original series continued after its third season, it would be similar to what Star Trek Continues gave it.
Well,
So,
my
yeah,
opinion is, Mikey, that continues is closer to Canada than any of the garbage that CBS is pumping out these days.
absolutely, yes,
Because
amen to that.
I tried. What was the first show? I can't remember the name of it.
I think it was called Starfleet, something like that.
No, the one that CBS started with the horrible Klingons and
Oh, um, shoot. Discovery.
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 Yeah,
Yeah, Star Trek
I watched
Discovery.
the first three episodes. I fell asleep halfway through the first one, which tells you a lot. And I had to rewatch it, and it's
I
still bad.
I
And then I
watched
said,
three. Yeah, I watched them on YouTube. They had the first
yeah,
season and the first couple of episodes. I didn't even bother watching the second one. I kind of watched the first one, sped through it a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is terrible." And then I
yeah,
started to watch the second one, and then I just fell asleep at the beginning of the
yeah.
second
Well,
episode.
I'm like one of these people that kind of likes to, you know, it's like Indy 5, right? There's so many channels hating on it. I actually kind of enjoyed the film.
Yes, me
Thought
too.
it was pretty
Yes,
good. But the thing is, what my point I'm making is, I like to kind of watch at least a bit of something to give it a chance and make up my own mind. And I watched like three episodes of Discovery, and I thought, this is bad. Like the Klingons killed it for me. Like those aren't Klingons. I don't know what the hell they are, but they're not Klingons, right?
they're not
Uh,
Klingons.
yeah, they changed it so much, and the writing was so bad. And
Oh,
what was her name? Michael or whatever her name was. One of the
her name
most
is Michael Burnham. I'm like,
unappealing,
oh my
unappealing character.
god, she was absolutely stupid.
She
I
was an
never,
a-hole.
I've never heard of a bad character name like that in my life.
Oh,
And believe
oh,
me, I have heard so many bad. Oh, and I didn't tell you. This is one last thing. I swear, and then we're gonna shut it down.
yeah, I should
But
shut it down pretty soon. You know, you're
yeah, we
breaking up
should here
again.
in about a minute or so. But I finally told, I finally, I wanted him to play, because it was the only film I ever walked out on, in my lifetime. I've never walked out on any other films except for this one, and that's because my dad
Which
said,
one?
"Let's go right now. Let's leave." Megaforce. It has Barry Bostwick in it, and it's about a government force of high-powered motorcycles that go on missions and stuff. It was bull crap. I
That
mean,
was what,
it's the
eight?
worst
Was that eight?
possible.
Never saw it, but that was 80s or
1982.
something.
Yeah, it came
Okay.
out in 1982. It was the summer of 1982 because I
Yeah.
remember I was out of school. My mom and dad and myself and my brother and my two sisters, all six of us. Okay, and back then in the early 80s, movie theater tickets were pretty inexpensive. So
Oh God, yeah,
you could do a family of six for less than $20. For less than $25. I think it was, you know,
yeah. I
and
miss those
and
days. I miss those
yeah,
days.
and we went to see Megaforce because we thought, oh, this looks cool, motorcycles, things like. So we thought it was
Mm,
kind of action, and it
yeah,
was directed by the
never
same.
saw it.
Yeah, and it was directed by the same guy that did Cannonball Run, which was Hal Needham. So
Oh, I
that
like
tells you a
Cannonball
lot.
Run. That was a
Yeah,
fun film.
yeah, but that tells you a lot. So, you
Well,
know,
I guess Hal maybe hit Cannonball was kind of a fluke success, and then he
right.
did crap after that? Because
Oh
some
yeah,
directors do that.
he did a lot of crap shows and stuff. But here's the
Mhm.
thing: my dad and my mom were religious watchers of Siskel and Ebert. Okay, I have it
Okay.
downloaded where they talked about the film. Okay, I have it downloaded. Now here's the thing: we went to see the film. We went to see the film when it first came out, and like we said, we walked out less than 15 minutes into the film. We just
That's
walked out. Said it was
that's
the
very
worst film we'd ever seen. My
that's
dad said,
bad.
"I will never come back and see this film again."
That's
Next thing we
bad.
know, we turned on the channel that shows Siskel and Ebert, and both of them said no and said it's not even worth the watch. And my dad was so upset. He said, "Damn it! I wasted all that money for a movie when all I had to do was wait to watch Siskel and Ebert, and they could have told me not to see the film and to avoid it." It's like, I'm sorry, Dad. Damn.
Thing is, Mikey, that was back in the days when critics were actually worthwhile to listen to
Oh yeah,
because
Siskel and Ebert were worth it for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but they were intelligent, right?
Oh
Nowadays,
yeah.
I never listen to critics because if I look anything online about a film, it's like, well, this person's an idiot. They don't know what they're talking about most of the time, right? So I
They
ignore
don't know
critics.
anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, well, it's like Indy 5. Some people have challenged me on live streams like, "Oh, you're too passionate," and I'm like, "No, it's. I don't think it's a great film, but I think it's a damn good film worth seeing."
I
And
think it is too.
some
I
people just can't accept that, right? You know.
Right. Well, as I told Susanna, I said I can't wait till this film. If so many people diss it, I can't wait till it comes on DVD and we'll buy it. We'll get it. We'll add it to our collection, and that's it. We'll
Yeah,
have Indy 5. Yeah. So
I don't get it, Mikey. It's like, okay, it's not. Of course, I love the first film. Raiders is the best. That's
it's
like
the
five.
best.
That's like 10-star rating. That one's so perfect, right?
Yeah, that one set the bar. So
You know.
when you have like, you throw out something, well, a little less than crap, but pretty crappy. I mean, Temple of Doom. And then of
Yep,
course you counter that,
Temple.
and then you
Yeah,
counter that with Last Crusade, and then of course again you throw us another bone,
crapola.
a crapola bone, yeah, for
Yeah,
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then you're like,
yeah.
oh God, do you think anything could get worse than that? And I actually really liked Indy 5. I did. I enjoyed it,
I
and
did
I
too.
was, yeah, I
You
thought it
know.
was good. I gave it
Well,
like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was initially 4.5, but I think there were some things that I thought were just kind of
it
inconsistent.
was
So
too
yeah,
long for me. I give it a B plus, but I think they could have trimmed if. Well, the trouble is they had
that
like
was too
what
long.
was it?
I agree.
They had
Yeah,
four
well, you and
writers.
I
Four
discussed that before,
writers.
right? We talked. Yeah,
They had four
yeah, the writers
writers,
did exactly.
and anytime I see a film with too many writers, I start to think, "Oh, we're in trouble," because generally we are, right? And I give it a B plus. I think it's
Yes.
it's a solidly good film, but I can understand why it's not getting the box office because two and a
Yeah,
half,
I
two
I
hours
gave
and
it a
40
solid
minutes.
B. Yeah,
It's too damn
yeah.
long. That's the big problem. Like, I think they could have cut a lot of that stuff with like the CIA subplot. I think they could have cut that right out of the
Yes.
film, to be honest, and
Yeah.
saved them
And
like
I
20,
think
30
they should
minutes.
have. Yeah, and granted that uh Harrison's what in his 80s, so
I think he's
but still,
80 or something. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. But still, I think he could have done a lot more, and I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge could have done a lot less.
Well, I think Phoebe didn't bother me. Like, I was expecting her to be a horrible woke bitch from what everybody's saying online. And I just thought she kind of came across as kind of a shallow, character that only cared about money, right? That's why she
Sure,
only wanted to know about archaeology. It was to make a buck off of artifacts. Whereas Indy was, still a cool guy that loved history and artifacts because he could learn from them and gain knowledge. And I still thought that
exactly.
was a great part of the film, right? So
Yeah,
and it wasn't woke. I mean, I don't think Phoebe ever was doing woke shit with Indy. Indy was
No.
still he was still he's like, okay, maybe the guy's 80, but he's still kicking ass, punching faces, and you know,
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it was
and
great, you know.
surviving. Yeah, of course, and surviving a bomb that literally was dropped on top of him by a overhead by a flying airplane and
Well, yeah.
survived.
Okay,
Oh my
I'm
god.
not quite sure about that scene. I think he probably would have died, but you know, it's like, hey, Indy's not a documentary; it's a fantasy, right?
It's
So,
a fantasy, yeah.
yeah, no.
But still, I think the Voller, who was played by Mads Mikkelsen.
He was
I
great.
He was great, but I think he should have got his head taken off when he was on the train at
Oh,
the light.
yeah, he should have been decapitated.
Absolutely. I mean,
Oh, another,
I heard
and
the thump on the. I told you we were in the Ultravox theater where you can hear the thumps, you can hear the
oh no,
chops, you can hear the punching and the explosions, you can
oh
hear
god,
all that. And I swear to God, I hear this thump, and I'm like, oh, he's dead. That's it. His head's been cut off.
he should have
He's
been.
gone. No, and he survived. I'm like, why? I, just,
Okay,
I didn't get it.
this is my other point about his character is
Yeah,
why did Indy age like 30, 40 years and he didn't?
right. Exactly.
Because
That's I was
he didn't look
wondering.
any old. The last part of the film, he looked the same age as he was like back in the 40s or whatever, right?
He looked like he didn't age a day.
Yeah,
I was kind of considering that myself. I'm like, wait a second, this was 1944, and then we're going to what 1969?
1969, and
Yeah, 25 years.
he still
Yeah,
looks like 44. Bug that's my other major criticism, Mikey. That bugged the hell out of me. I hated that. It's like, what are
I
you
know.
guys thinking? He
Yeah.
should be old too, right?
Well, he should have had some gray hairs, and I admit they did put a few gray hairs in his, in his hairpiece, I guess. So in a way,
Eh,
he's supposed to look like kind of like
they
Indy.
should have done some
But yeah,
makeup
no,
on him or
just
something to make him look 20 years older at
a
least.
lot older. I agree.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
agree. But
So
at
it's
least
like
you and I liked it.
that's
Yeah,
one reason I can't say it's a great film. It's like it's got some major flaws, right? I
I
really I
say,
enjoyed it, but
yeah,
it's just it's not a
I,
film I'll ever watch again because it's too damn long, basically.
of course. Well, as I told uh, Daniel's thoughts
Oh,
or
I know Daniel
thought.
loves it.
Yeah, Daniel loves the film, and yeah,
uh,
as I told Daniel, I said to him, "Look, this is how I go and rate it. Okay, I've got Raiders first, then I got Last Crusade, then
yep,
I've got you know Temple of Doom,
yep,
reluctantly because it's kind of dark. Then I've got Crystal Skull, or no, then I've got Indy Five, and then I got Crystal
yep.
Skull.
You
So
know,
that's
you
basically how I go.
you just exactly matched my ratings for all five films.
That's exactly how it is.
Yep,
That's really how it is.
yep,
And I told Jeff Franklin, I said, Professor, I said, yeah, Temple of Doom is dark, but I can guarantee you it's a lot better uh, than Crystal Skull. And he loved Crystal Skull. I didn't quite get it. I mean, I understood the aliens thing, but still, it's still the worst for my five. Yeah,
I think it's the worst of the five. Crystal Skull just I just can't get into it for various reasons, but
me
I
either.
won't get into them because it's quarter to midnight here, and I should probably leave. So,
Okay, sir. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, but I want to thank you for coming up here and being with me to
oh
kind of help me get through the night and try to collapse and fall
yeah, I always
asleep.
love hanging out with you, man. But I
I
got to
do
get
too,
up
man.
around 8:30 tomorrow
Oh,
for another
get
day
some.
of work. So,
All right, man. Well, go ahead and drop out and get some sleep, okay?
okay, I will,
All right, buddy. Take care.
and we'll see you soon.
All right, man. All right, my friends. So that'll do it for tonight. The My Can't Sleep stream. Again, thanks again, PvPCA, for coming in and helping me out on the panel to get through it. Lemon Pie, you were awesome as always. You're a great moderator, and thank you for coming and helping us out um, as always. And we also had Gorilla's Random Thoughts. He came in, he was lurking, and brother, for dropping by. We also had two new people tonight. We once again, thanks everyone for coming by the stream tonight. Hope the rest of your week and weekend is going to go well. For the kids that are going back to school, uh, make sure that you get all of your materials and listen to your parents. They know what they're doing, and listen to your teachers. They're basically very knowledgeable, very educated. So try to learn as much as possible. Ask questions. That's always the best thing to do when you're a kid. Is in earlier grades is to ask questions. Question everything. That's my advice to you kids out there. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. And once again, thanks everyone for tonight, and God bless. Good night.